is Angie Struess. The topic that I chose for this assignment is blended families. A blended family is a family consisting of a couple and their children from all previous relationships. Let's take a second and see if you can think of any blended families that you know. Chances are pretty good that you can. In the past, blended families were usually the result of a death of a spouse, but today, blended families are often the result of divorce. I chose this topic because a good friend of mine recently got married for the second time. She has one daughter from her previous marriage, and her husband has one daughter from a previous relationship. I wanted to know more information about blended families and how they work. I was hoping to learn things that I could pass on to her and help her new family become successful. The research shows that second marriages have a higher chance of divorce than first marriages, especially if children are involved. The divorce rate is about 70% for second marriages with children. Dr. Phil said that there are 1,300 blended families formed every single day. This type of marriage is becoming more popular than traditional first marriages. Blended families face different challenges than nuclear families. They have the added stress of ex-spouses and other parental figures in their stepchildren's lives. The children may have issues that you are not aware of until you are a family and living together every single day. Also, you need to figure out what your role is as a new step-parent in someone's life. In a first marriage, there is usually the relationship first, and then the children. In blended families, there is the children first, and then the relationship. Some people can have a hard time with their priorities in blended families. Some people pay more attention to their children first, and the marriage relationship suffers. It is extremely important to make sure that your relationship with your new spouse is a priority. Some of the biggest arguments that my friend and her new husband faced is how to discipline. Does a new stepmother discipline her 8-year-old stepdaughter? If yes, how? Does she enforce chores and time out when her husband is not home? Does the new stepfather discipline his new 3-year-old stepdaughter? If so, how? This can be very tricky to navigate through. You need to have good communication about this, or possibly seek professional advice on how to move forward. Some of the other arguments that this couple had was about finances. Who would pay what? Who would pay for childcare for both of their children? Who pays for the mortgage when it was her house first, before the marriage? Who pays for the groceries? Dr. Phil gave some good advice in the clip that I attached to my PowerPoint presentation. His ideas on achieving harmony in the blended family include: acknowledge the challenge. You need to both understand that this is going to be difficult. You need to both be committed to each other in order for this to work. You need to sit down and talk about the situation and be honest with each other. The second thing is to have discussions outside of crisis. Try not to have conflicting arguments in front of your children. Talk about things privately. If the situation becomes too heated and you need to argue, call and ask someone to take your children out of the house for a little while. Your children do not need to hear you yelling or fighting. The next thing is to stop complaining and be specific. Don't criticize your partner, state your needs. If you are in a situation, you need to start with, I need. And then hopefully your partner will be willing to work with you and you can get your needs met. The next thing is to mutually agree on punishment. It is important for the couple to talk about how the discipline is to be done within their household. And this is what Dr. Phil has to say about that.
Discipline. I think with parents alone, okay, just parents of their child, it becomes a good cop, bad cop. But then when you factor in step-parents, how much more difficult does that make the situation?
Well, it's almost impossible. If the step-parent is not involved before the age of 4 or 5, they cannot and should not be involved in the direct discipline of the stepchildren. They don't have the bond, because you have to understand, from the kid's point of view, this isn't their parent. This is their mother's husband or their husband's wife. It's just somebody that mom or dad brought in and they don't give them the right to discipline them, so they're not going to acknowledge it. Don't try to be the primary disciplinarian if you are a step parent that got in the game after the age of 4 or 5.
There are some things you just can't change. You gotta let it play
That's
out.
right.
The final thing is to create a personal relationship with each child. It is important to establish this relationship, whether they are yours biologically or not. This can mean engaging in a hobby that you and your child do together, such as a mommy-daughter spa night, a craft day, or going out to dinner. Find out what their interests are and be engaged with them. Going to therapy is a good way to get some professional advice for blended families. A marriage counselor may be able to suggest some things that can make this transition easier for everyone involved. My friend and her new husband had so many challenges right at the beginning of their marriage. They did go to counseling, and they did implement some of the advice they were given. But unfortunately, this couple could not make things work. Their arguments became too frequent, and the husband cheated on the wife within 3 months of marriage. I am heartbroken for my friend. I know that she really wanted to make this marriage work, but in the end, it couldn't survive. Blended families definitely have their struggles, but it is possible to make things work if both partners are willing.
10 more seconds.
And here are my sources and my references. Thank you.